We begin the film in the vast Australian desert, in a serene location with no signs of life. Suddenly, an unknown object descends from the sky, leaving a trail of fire, and crashes into the barren land. The next morning, a worker named Bill goes out to repair a damaged cell tower. Upon exiting his vehicle, Bill heads toward the tower and is surprised to spot a small dog wandering a distance from the neighboring town. As he pets the animal, he notices something peculiar on the ground. Approaching, he discovers a dead rat wrapped in a strange viscous red substance. Curious, he touches the unknown substance and suddenly feels a sharp pain throughout his body. As he struggles against the pain, a creature resembling a worm moves beneath his skin towards his brain. Meanwhile, in the nearby town, a young man named Simon is awakened from his sleep by strange sounds coming from outside his window. Unable to wake his mother, he goes to find his aunt Joanne and excitedly reports his unsettling discovery. Awakening from her bed, Joanne quickly calls her colleague Luke to get news about the repairs on the cell tower. As soon as she gets in touch, Luke explains that Bill went to fix the tower but hasn't been heard from since. Joanne informs Luke that she will check the tower on her way to work when the signals fail and the call drops. Sighing in frustration, Joanne hangs up and communicates to her sister Samantha that the movers should arrive on Saturday, expressing her excitement about moving to the city. Leaving home, Joanne begins her journey to the cell tower and finds it in ruins upon arrival. Entering the fenced area, she sees a local technician focused on filling out a report. Curious, Joanne asks the man about possible storms that may have occurred overnight, but he dismisses the idea, stating they would have heard a storm of that magnitude. He continues explaining that the extent of the damage seems to have been done intentionally and says that a replacement will take a day to arrange. Irritated by the inconvenience, Joanne goes into town to try to gather information from locals about any strange events that may have occurred the night before. Going to a nearby cafe, Joanne talks to the owner but can't obtain any useful information. In the busy kitchen of the cafe, Chef Anthony hears his dog whining outside and goes to investigate. A few seconds later, a disturbing noise is heard before Anthony is seen wandering aimlessly down the street. Joanne and the owner observe the unusual behavior of the man and call for Anthony, but he remains oblivious to their calls. Finding the situation strange, Joanne begins to head to her car, and a chilling sight of blood on the ground makes her stop. Following the trail of blood, she discovers Anthony's dead and mutilated dog near the fence next to the cafe, with a strange substance oozing from the animal's body. Realizing that something anomalous must be happening, Joanne returns to her car and notices teenagers gathered on the porch of an old building. Looking up, she asks if they noticed any strange incidents regarding Anthony's pet. Although they explain that they know nothing about the animal, they mention that Anthony's dog had been behaving unusually that morning. Warning them to contact her if they remember anything else, Joanne resumes her way. A few minutes after Joanne's departure, the teenagers begin to notice strange, disheveled individuals looking up, which makes them quite uneasy. Moments later, Joanne arrives at the clinic and quickly informs Luke about the mutilated animal she found, asking him to investigate the cause of death. Joanne goes to another room and tries to contact Bill via radio, but receives nothing but silence on the other end. Meanwhile, in a different area of town, Samantha is working at the library and sees her son and friends looking out the window. Going over to them, she peeks outside and is shocked to see Bill staring blankly, completely motionless. Worried, Samantha opens the door and calls out to him to check if he is okay, but he refuses to respond, frightening Samantha, who retreats back into the building. Back at the station, Joanne and Luke receive a visit from a local geologist named Angela, who has a keen interest in photography. Seemingly excited, she tells them she has something interesting to show and takes Joanne out to the desert, revealing a huge crater formed in the rocky ground. She informs Joanne that the crater appeared overnight and explains that something large must have collided to form it. Joanne listens to Angela's theory about an object falling from the sky with skepticism, but recommends that she cordon off the area and conduct further research. As they head to the car, the two women find another dead animal with the same protruding spines. Realizing that both cases are related, Joanne instructs Angela to collect a sample from the animal for analysis. Meanwhile, at the school, Samantha observes Bill and the children closely, horrified by Bill's strange behavior. Suddenly, she remembers that one of her students went out to the restroom and becomes concerned for the children's safety. Attempting to ascertain the man's whereabouts, Samantha realizes that Bill has disappeared. With anxiety mounting, she gathers the children and leads them to a different room in the school, instructing them to lock the door. Samantha rushes to the office and communicates with Joanne using the radio. After several attempts, she manages to make contact and relays the distressing news that she saw Bill with blood on his hands. Worried, Joanne advises Samantha to stay with the students and assures her that she is on her way. Upon arriving at the school, Joanne discovers Bill standing by the basketball court, his face covered in a reddish substance and with a vacant gaze. Joanne tries to communicate with Bill to find out what happened, but she can't understand what he says. As Samantha runs towards them, Joanne instructs her to wait outside while she investigates the restroom. Inside, Joanne sees blood pooling on the floor, and fear washes over her as she enters one of the stalls. As soon as she sees what is on the other side, Joanne recoils horrified at the macabre scene. Going outside, Joanne pulls out her gun and aims it at Bill, placing him under arrest for the disturbing crime he committed. Meanwhile, Samantha enters the restroom to see what Bill has done and nearly faints upon finding Bill's brutally murdered daughter. Hearing voices from the stall next door, Samantha opens the door and finds a terrified young man hiding. Covering his eyes from the disturbing scene, she leads him outside. Just as Joanne manages to arrest Bill in her car, Samantha, still trembling in shock, asks her sister why he would do that to his daughter. Joanne, unable to provide a satisfactory answer, advises Samantha to gather all the children and head to the police station. Meanwhile, in town, Luke grows suspicious of Anthony's errant wandering and decides to follow him. Despite Luke's attempts to engage him in conversation, Anthony remains silent, barely acknowledging Luke's presence before continuing on his way. Standing there, Luke hears the distant voices of the teenagers hiding on the porch above, making him look up. The group explains to Luke that they had been hiding, hoping someone would rescue them from the strange individuals lurking around. When they say they can't leave because the doors are locked, Luke draws his gun and enters the building, checking the surroundings, only to be surprised to find Marcia hiding. Marcia, with tears in her eyes, says she hid there because Anthony attacked her, forcing her to flee for her life. Claiming that everything will be okay, Luke tries to guide her to safety, but is startled when Anthony launches a sudden attack against him. Thrown aside by Anthony, Luke witnesses the disturbing transformation of Anthony's face, marked by strange veins. Anthony then lunges towards Marcia, grabbing her by the head and violently throwing her against the wall. Attempting to help her, Luke fires a shot, hitting Anthony in the leg, causing him to scream in pain and flee. In following Anthony, Luke unexpectedly encounters Dean, another resident who seems to be exhibiting similar symptoms. Suddenly, Dean begins to run, prompting Luke to pursue him, but he cannot catch up. Dean reaches his own house and begins to attack his wife, holding her neck and breaking it. Just in time, Joanne arrives at Dean's house and sees the macabre scene of the dead woman. After reuniting with Luke, the two officers find Dean, who is now holding his baby son. Trying to calm the crazed man, Joanne attempts to check on the baby's well-being, but Dean attacks her, leaving Luke no choice but to shoot him. As the man collapses on the ground, they glimpse a huge monstrous creature disappearing beneath the earth. Their shock is interrupted as the zombified individuals begin to pursue them. The two officers run to their car and return to the police station. Upon arriving, they quickly contact a doctor, requesting an investigation into Bill's condition. After a brief examination, the doctor informs Joanne that the strange condition is unlike anything he has ever seen, leaving them confused. As soon as the doctor leaves, Joanne cautiously speaks with Bill, who seems to be regaining consciousness. Excited, she asks him what happened that morning. With tears streaming down his face, Bill confesses that the voices in his head compelled him to commit a horrible crime. Despite his awareness of his actions, he reveals his inability to control himself, pleading for her to kill him. Suddenly, Bill's face undergoes a terrifying transformation, as a different voice is heard coming from him, declaring that he swiftly ended the girl's life by breaking her neck. Frightened by the strange incidents, Joanne tells Luke to gather all the uninfected individuals and get them to safety at the police station. After returning to the office, Joanne and Luke receive a call from Angela, informing them of her intention to leave the town and reporting that she is noticing a colossal sandstorm. Although she attempts to cross the storm, she finds it very difficult and contacts the officer, stating that it is impossible to pass. Worried about her friend, Joanne drives to the outskirts of town to retrieve Angela and bring her back. Meanwhile, at the school, Samantha feels overwhelmed by the presence of strangers watching them and decides to follow Joanne's advice and head to the police station. As they run to the car, the group is startled by the horrendous sight of an otherworldly creature attacking and dragging unsuspecting individuals to the ground. Just as the immediate danger passes, Samantha directs the group to the police station, where some arrive seeking refuge while the remaining community stays locked in their homes. However, the creature's infection has already made its way into some residences, resulting in the demise of entire families. As night falls, Joanne, followed by a young man who is hiding inside the police station, sets out to rescue possible survivors in the city. Meanwhile, Luke and Samantha stand guard, trying to protect the station and its inhabitants while bringing back the people they encounter. Joanne and the others find hordes of infected individuals chasing after them ferociously. Luckily, they narrowly escape by entering the police station. As they look out the window of the building, they hear a deafening scream reverberating in the air. Following the frightening sound, they find a large creature eliminating the infected individuals, one by one. Curiously, Luke and Joanne venture outside and come face to face with the monster, which drags Bill's lifeless body from atop the nearby detention cell roof, disappearing into the depths of the earth. After the attack, the group realizes that one of the young girls is missing and goes out to search for her. After scouring the area, they are shocked to see Michelle being attacked by her infected mother. As they attempt to help the girl, the group is caught off guard by the sudden arrival of the alien creature. While still holding Michelle's leg, her mother is dragged away by the alien, pulling Michelle along. Desperate to save the girl, Joanne fires her weapon and screams, trying to get the creature's attention. Grabbing a shovel, she strikes the infected woman's hand, freeing Michelle and allowing the creature to take the lifeless body away. The alien creature transports the infected bodies to the desert, where they are consumed by flames, eradicating the disease and causing the oppressive dust cloud surrounding the city to vanish. The next morning, the survivors remain in shock from the horrors they witnessed, struggling to understand reality. While Luke and Joanne sit together in front of the station, Luke reveals his intention to leave town, while Joanne expresses her desire to stay. To close, we see Joanne watching her nephew sleep, her gaze lingering on the drawing the boy made of the alien creature,